Hello, and welcome to the Banker's View from Sibos video series, talking about the hot topics at the event. I'm Joy Macknight, Managing Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Paud O'Keeffe, Global Head of Digital Client Experience at BNP Paribas Securities Services, to talk about how application programming interfaces, or APIs, is really enabling innovation in banking. Paud, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Joy. Pleasure to be here.
So you're speaking on a panel later this week, which is really about the connective tissue role that APIs are playing. What is really driving that forward, and what can they really do in banking, and maybe specifically in security services?
I think there's probably three key areas. One is around efficiency and cost saves. I think we've, as an industry, invested heavily in automation, the likes of RPA, machine learning, artificial intelligence, but there are still some pockets there where straight-through processing hasn't necessarily been achieved yet. And I think APIs can really help address that computer-to-computer interface that's going to be needed to really innovate in that space. Secondarily, real-time access to data. I think our clients' expectations are constantly changing. There's a need to really have that real-time access in. You think of areas like settlement, where having that real-time access can really help with things like intraday risk, cash and collateral management. So I think that's certainly another area of innovation. And I think then really looking at the services of the future and future-proofing your business as well. If we think about the growth of platform plays, the connectivity to those platform plays, be they fintech or big tech platform plays, banks and certainly within security services, there's a need to have that connectivity. If we think about giving clients access to customized reporting, it's an area of big focus for security services, but having APIs really enables self-service for those clients as well. And even if we think about areas like regulation, SRD2, CSDR, how can APIs really help us address those increasing regulatory burdens on firms?
It's arguably said that the banking industry is maybe a bit late to embrace APIs and open APIs especially. What will drive greater adoption?
When we think about adoption, I think we've got to focus on really the key client pain points and client needs. There's no point in us saying let's try and find a home for APIs. For me, it's a case of let's really talk to our clients, understand their challenges, their pain points, and see where APIs can really help drive successes in delivering against those pain points. I think the other area is really around interoperability. If we look at security services specifically, there was a recent report by Swift saying that over 70% of asset managers were concerned about interoperability when considering an API solution. So we've got to think about how we can make it easier for our clients, and I think a key area in that is when we think about standards and APIs. It's probably an area that we've got to focus on to ensure that interoperability exists.
Okay, so in terms of standards, what more can be done, what has been done, what more can be done to actually, standardize APIs?
Yeah, within payments, obviously we've had PSD2. It's really driven that open banking adoption of APIs. In security services, there hasn't been a similar regulatory driver. So I think what we need to do is look at, what has worked well from a payments perspective, what hasn't, and what we can learn from that as we think about security services. So as you mentioned, standards is that key area for me. I think because we're a small bit later to the party on this, I think we've got an opportunity to look at the implementation of a global standard from the outset. We've been working for the past year with Swift on how we can use the ISO 20022 global standard for APIs as well. And we had some concerns about that ourselves in thinking about the extensibility of 20022 for APIs. But through the work we've done with Swift, we've addressed those, and I'm happy to kind of say we're looking at our entire API catalog and ensuring that it's ISO 20022 compliant for the benefit of our clients, because it will bring that interoperability if we can agree at an industry level to adopt a standard from the outset. We've worked with Swift to kind of generate what we call a coalition of the willing with our peer groups to look at ISO 20022 and see can we adopt it from the outset, and I think we're making very good progress in that regard.
So what other innovation is happening in security services?
Oh, quite a lot. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, still a very big area within security services. If we think further afield, think of chat ecosystems and how we can really collaborate with our clients in real time via chats or via virtual assistants. Another key area. Still a lot of growth in the DLT and crypto asset side of things. And I think one of the key areas that we're really starting to see, even here at Sibos this year, is around kind of climate action. What our industry is doing in the space. The growth of not only millennials but Gen Z is really starting to drive that as well. So I think big focus in the innovation space there. We're doing a lot ourselves in BNP in that space. So I think it's a big growth area.
Excellent. My last question, and even though we're just at the very beginning of the conference, what do you think is going to be the buzz, or what do you feel is the buzz on the conference floor?
Yeah, well, I think the theme of the conference is connectivity, and I think the opportunity that we get from a conference like this is to connect with our peers, connect with technology firms, and connect with the future generation of clients. I think for us here, we'll use it as an opportunity to try and build on our coalition of the willing around standards, but also to look at other areas of collaboration. You think about other themes around cybersecurity. For me, looking at collaboration is going to be a key for us addressing that at an industry level. So I think that's another key theme. But I would certainly say connectivity and openness will be key for this year.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Paud.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.